converged here on Kaposvár in Hungary to watch 30 of Europe's best extreme riders fight it out for the crown of European stunt riding champion. I wish I was here just to watch them, but I'm not. I'm taking part. For some help. He's now got 1.5 days to turn me from stunt monkey into stunt pro. This is it. We're in Budapest, and now I'm going to meet this man here, Zoltan, Hungary's #1 stunt rider, who's going to teach me a thing or two. There he is. This is my man Zoltan. How you doing? Good to meet you. So, after meeting Zoltan and picking up my hired stunt bike, I followed him to a practice area a couple of hours' drive from Budapest for the start of my much-needed tuition. On the way, I couldn't resist trying out my bike, but I don't think that attempt at a slow controlled wheelie was fooling anyone. 3 years ago, Zoltan didn't even have his bike licence. He and a couple of mates just rocked up to a local stunt riding competition and thought, I'll have a go at this. The event organiser spotted Zoltan's raw talent, and the rest, as they say, is history. Now he's a full-time professional stunt rider, and one of his favourite tricks is dropping the back wheel out of his old MZ at over 50 miles an hour. Right, when we get to the competition, I'm going to have to do three compulsory events when I get to the competition. 100-metre wheelie, as slow as possible. The rolling stoppie, as long as possible, and donuts, both ways. Time to get to work. First up, it was wheelie time. Here I had to go from my usual technique of clutching up the wheelie and then changing gear to keep it longer, to trying to take the bike beyond the balance point, that is, pretty much flipping it, but catching it with the back brake. This way, by staying in this balance point, the hardest place to keep a wheelie, you can go slower. You don't need the power to keep it going. Zoltan tries to teach me the secret of this black art. Not so easy when he doesn't speak a word of English, so I'd be learning through an interpreter.
Még nem tud egy kerekedni. Az a lényeg, hogy kéne tényleg egy kicsit testtel vissza, amikor megindul valamelyik irányba, akkor egy kicsit, de hát egy kicsit mit tudom, húzza vissza, vagy próbál stabilabban ülni egy kicsit, mit tudom, lábba megfogja a tankot, vagy valami egy kicsit ilyen.
The first try to sit more stable on the bike.
Okay.
To hold with your legs.
With my legs?
Yes, the tank holds
okay.
With your legs. Don't move like that on the bike, like a butterfly. That's very, very stable. That's the first. And then, when the bike starts to go on one side, try to balance with your body.
Trying to relearn this old trick was difficult, but actually going back and analysing the technique, listening to what Zoltan said, my wheelies weren't quite as high and floaty as his, but things were starting to come together.
The key issue here is still not wanting to go over the back of this thing. This is very, very difficult.
Next up, it was stoppie time. Zoltan went out to demonstrate. Unsurprisingly, he was excellent. It was sheer poetry in motion watching him roll that bike almost endlessly and effortlessly on the front wheel. Now it was my turn. I had to overcome my fear of locking the front brake and ditching myself on the floor, and then just grab a load, get that front tyre pressed into the tarmac, tweak the brake a little more at that point so that back wheel starts to rise. And after this, it's up to you to balance it and roll it without eating tarmac.
That was rubbish.
Rubbish or not, that was all we had time for. Next up, it was donuts. Once again, Zoltan demonstrated and made it look very easy. I had a go and made it look very, very difficult. The trick here is you need to do 3 things at once. First up, you need to tweak that front brake hard, compress the front end, get the back end light. At exactly that same point, dump the clutch and give it a load of gas, while not forgetting to hang on to that front brake. Get your balance, get rolling. Zoltan was doing it over and over. I could see what he was doing, but getting it to happen for me was a lot harder. Still, things did begin to come together. I got it spinning a couple of times, but just as I was getting into the groove, I shredded the tyre. It ended up wrapped round the rear sprocket, and that was my practice session over. I'd get no more riding until the competition the next day. Zoltan looked on as I tried to sort the bike out. I don't think he was that impressed.
I don't really know where to begin. I'll be lucky to wheelie 10 metres, let alone 100 metres. I might be able to do a rubbish stoppie at the traffic lights, but I'm not sure I can roll one. And as for getting a burnout to go around in circles, I'm struggling, man.
Do it for real in front of 5,000 fans, and my first training session hadn't exactly gone well. My challenge is to pass the compulsory section at the Hungarian round of the European Stunt Riding Championship.
The level here is very, very high. I always knew I was out of my depth, but I didn't realise until now just how far I was going to sink.
My name's Warren Pole, and in less than 24 hours I've got to go from being a stunt monkey to a stunt pro, capable of passing the compulsory section at the Hungarian round of the European Stunt Riding Championship. My challenge includes a 100-metre slow wheelie, a rolling stoppie and beekeeper, but that's another story.
We've got a few problems. Problem number one, is starting a rolling burnout.
Az indulás és a gumiégetés.
Elsősorban a fékemekkel állítani a motort, és utána egy nagy gázkuplungot rá kell engedni.
Stop the bike with the brake, and the clutch, and a really heavy gas.
Obvious and very simple advice, but doing it is a much harder prospect altogether. That said, riding next to Zoltan and seeing how violent he was with the throttle, with the brake and with the clutch was starting to rub off on me. Suddenly, I got my first ever donut going for real. I don't know who was happier, Zoltan or me. But there was no time to rest on my very small laurels yet. We still had to conquer the rolling stoppie and the competition was looming. Zoltan still made it look simple, I still made him look very difficult. And with Zoltan wishing me luck, it was my turn.
Thank you. I definitely need the good luck. We've got 10 minutes to go. I'm going for a quick warm-up. And then I'm getting ready to embarrass myself in front of 5,000 people. 2. Okay, man, we're here for...
But the back wheel went up and the front wheel did roll. In that sense, I guess it had to count. I was halfway through, sweating like a madman, exhausted and rather strung out on adrenaline. Now, it was burnout. Back wheel started to go, it started to turn. Somehow, by looking down at the cone in front of me and turning the bars, I managed to go around in circles. I had not completed a whole circle until this point. I am utterly chuffed. I've done a load of... After the compulsory section had separated the men from the boys, it was time for the top guys to perform their full range of tricks in the pure freestyle final. It went down to the last two, with Zoltan going up against the vastly experienced defending champion.
Zoltan came second. The smoke machine's on, the laser machine's on. People are doing wheelies and burnouts with fireworks. They're setting fire to everything they can find. I got a certificate. I passed my challenge. I scored enough points in the qualifying. This place rules!